interpreted the ending and if you enjoyed the ending, because as I mentioned in non-spoiler portion, I think they could have ended on episode 9. I know it would have been ambiguous to have them driving off the cliff and you don't know what happened. That probably would have been frustrating, but I don't know. I just feel like episode 10 just didn't satisfy me enough, because we spend the whole episode with the two main characters, which, I guess makes sense. But I don't know, Yutaka, what did you think about the 10th episode with them being stranded in the back of LA desert, eating the elderberries, getting sick, having a trippy hallucination, switching each other's minds? It kind of reminded me of like of a Everything Everywhere All at Once with the stone scene and all that
It
stuff.
did,
But
but I didn't find it as endearing as Everything
exactly.
Everywhere All
Yeah.
at Once. So that's why I was just like, huh. And also, the thing that I really enjoyed about this show, though, is even the comedy. Like, it works really well to where I was just like, we're going for like puke gags right now.
Right. And Crows voting if Amy was a bad person.
I was just like, this took to a different level. I'm again,
Yeah.
I was happy because from a story standpoint, I really did want closure.
Yeah.
Also because I just, even if I'm not sure what the closure we got is like the best closure, but
Yeah.
I felt like we went through this entire journey.
Mhm.
I would have felt very cheated if episode 9 would have been the ending and it would
just ended with them
going off
the die.
like because
I agree.
however, I do think the execution in the 10th episode was a little it went to so many different places, but I still like the self-reflection. I think that was nice, and it was also kind of, I appreciated that we got to spend most of the episode with just
with
those
the 2 stars.
individuals.
Yeah, no, it was an acting exercise between those two, because they did, they're literally physically beaten up at this point, and all roads have led to this, of them, clashing and having a conversation. To your point, them admitting their faults, their wrongs. Amy was always blaming her parents, but at the end of the day, you can only blame your parents for so much. You can, once you're an adult, you can literally set your own path of how you either going to accept your past or let it harpen and sit in you and fester into you. So them talking about that, as well as just finally, because again, it's very therapeutic, letting it all out. All 9 episodes, they just had so much built-in tension, so much built-in stress and all that stuff. So I will agree with you, that was, at least narratively speaking, a satisfying conclusion for that. My issue with the execution was, it was when we get to, I guess, the Georgia of it all. So they have hallucinations. They finally make it out. They think they're going to die. But something in the back of my mind tells me that I think they did die. And what we see the last 5 minutes is all hallucination, but I don't have any really proof to prove that. I'll have to look into, okay, were their clothes different? Were they, I don't know. But
I kind of would agree with you, maybe, because I just do not see George being capable of, 1, finding them, and 2, being that good of a shot. I'm sorry. He just did not get that.
It played
from him.
It was random, because
more so, I don't think he would have been able to have gotten a shot like that.
Yeah, and plus, it was just a weird executed shot. They're walking in the middle of this random tunnel or whatever. He finds them, in his eyes, he just sees, let go of her. And he just sees the silhouettes of those 2. And it was the blocking and the staging of the shot was just so weird. And then we end with Danny in the hospital recovering from the gun wound. I assume it was pretty vital, because it seemed like he was on a vent. Yeah. So, but then I'm thinking in my head, like, someone that the cops are probably looking for. So I was surprised that they allow, and I don't know anything about police work, I'm just going by the movies. Whenever a criminal is caught and they get hurt or injured, you can't allow someone in the room with them, because they are a criminal. And also, too, all the movies I've seen, they handcuff them to their bed so they can't escape. So the fact that she was in, I assume that she probably told the police. She probably told them a different story and made it as though he wasn't as bad as Isaac or something like that. But I just found it weird that they allowed her in the room. But either way, she lays next to him, and we just see the days and time goes by, and we see his arm goes over her, assume that they have accept each other's and they're gonna be best friends forever. Because I don't know if
Now that I don't ever
George's gonna
believe.
take her back. What do you think about
I
the
feel if he would have survived, or I feel they would have been like, look, we did enough damage. Let's just
separate ways?
walk away.
They're best
But
friends now. Yutaka, they know each other's deepest and darkest secrets. I mean, they bonded
I mean,
in
that
the
does not
woods.
mean they're your best friend. That just means they could still be your enemy and just keep them closer.
Keep your yeah.
But
There you go. There you go.
I will definitely say the other thing that really bothered me about the episode, though, and again, I don't have many gripes with the series, but this
Yeah.
one, the fact that they now get all this reception and we're just going to have a quick rundown of all these texts and messages. I go, how are you
Great
cannot
point.
tell me you were going to give me this entire like all this
Character
story, all this
development, all
acting,
this
and
stuff. Yeah.
that's what I'm gonna get from some of these characters.
Paul, he's just okay. Which, by the way, how that execution episode 9, we hear a police shot somebody. It's the
Yes.
freeze, and it shot like 2 shots. So, but I guess Paul, he's that good. Yutaka, he escaped the bullets and somehow.
I was like, what?
Or maybe he did
gonna...
shot, and he's not really the victim or the criminal. So maybe they let him go.
Well, maybe they missed, and
like,
well, maybe he's like, okay, I'm not gonna move. I mean,
yeah.
I it's an affluent neighborhood. Well,
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, maybe
they just
maybe
let him.
there's
Well, they
also...
didn't have any evidence really because he could have just been there.
Yeah,
and
I mean, I
held
think all
hostage
the
by Isaac.
evidence is all the people in the house who
died or
who
Isaac
shot at them.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. That
Sure.
was not well explained.
But to your point, though, the conclusion of Paul's story of him and his brother, you don't know if they're ever going to speak again because he did tell Paul all the stuff he did with the application about the house burning up. So, yeah, I wish there was more closure with that side of the story. George and Amy maybe having a final conversation. So, yeah, there was a little bit of like being unsatisfied with those conclusions for those supporting characters.
I'll say the idea of those two being able to self-reflect and die out in the desert, that seems fitting for them both.
Yeah. Which again, I'm sure some people could interpret it. Maybe they did die in the forest, which I still think they might have.
I was like, man, you can't just let these other characters go down. Like, I was just like, that was where I was just like, yeah, I could see why people might have issues
with the conclusion.
With this final episode.
I mean, and to be fair, not to make excuses for show, it's hard to end a show. It's very rare that a show like completely sticks to landing. And I'm pretty confident this is a limited series. There have been other outliers as far as like limited series and they come back for a season 2, which I wouldn't not watch it, but I don't think that they would do a season 2, especially. Both of these two are incredibly busy. A24 doesn't normally do, I don't want to say sequels, but A24, besides like Euphoria, they do multiple seasons of that. But I'm okay with this being a one and done. I wouldn't want to see a season 2 personally, but if this show blows up,
different characters, or gave us like maybe
like within the characters we met, or you talking about like anthologies?
Because like you said, there were still some undeveloped characters that we might wanted to see more of. I wouldn't mind seeing that.
Exploring Paul running his own business.
Or like Fumi. You said, like, what about Naomi? Yeah. Like, I think there's room there, but it would be a hard sell. However, if same showrunner, director, writer, I would...
I will watch
You'd have me like already at a 75-80%. You just give me that trailer that they gave us with this, and I'd be like, well, damn. Yep, you got me.
I would probably, like you just said, I would take same writers, same showrunners, directors, actors, and maybe just do another series. It's just the fact that they all come together to work again to give us something new and special versus like a continuation.
I wouldn't be mad at that. Yeah.
Or even a spin. I would like this something new, which, as we talked about up top, the writer, director, and the star will be doing something in Marvel. And who knows what can come of that. But yeah, I think overall I would be okay if this is a one and done. But let us know in the chat if you guys would like to see a season 2 of Beef. Who knows? By the time we put this out, the numbers will be like no one has watched anything longer than Squid Games or Stranger Things season 4. So Netflix is greenlit a season 2. I don't know unless that
I
happens because
mean,
money
they
talks.
greenlit a season 2 of a show that I was not expecting to
Oh, don't
them
get me
to
started on
greenlight.
Netflix canceling shows before they even really take off or renewing
So
shows that need to end after episode 1. I don't know. Their
yes.
strategy to me is wow. But funny, I'll say this about Netflix because they still have great shows. Like I love Stranger Things. Orange is the New Black was
Yeah.
great. Dark is one of my favorite shows of all time. So they have good content, but I want to see more of this type of content. As far as having someone like an A24 come in, having one singular voice of a showrunner throughout the entire duration, and only one or two directors, for you can have that consistent tone, consistent look,
Mhm.
aesthetic, feel, arcs. They know what they're doing with the characters. I want more of this from Netflix, and I don't know if that it is in the form of like Netflix collaborating more with A24, which I know A24 was like, I thought they were working with Apple, so I don't know if they're just freelancing of because they want to get
Yeah,
to TV more. Because I want
I
more A24 shows because I love A24 as a
if
studio.
this is what they're putting out, sign me up.
Yeah,
I
because
mean, I'm
I think
again
Euphoria is the
huge,
only other show that they have under their umbrella as far as
which
TV shows.
well, maybe not this last season as much, but I still love
Yeah,
Euphoria.
I'm still a big fan of that show, which I don't think
So
we'll ever see
I
season 3.
was no, I don't think so
So
either.
much drama, so much. But yeah,
But I was happy that I got the for me, I mean, and they do it in the press release and all that. They go dive into the Asian American experience
yeah,
and then
yeah,
just to have this narrative and all of this. So I was just like, this is kind of refreshing to see
yep,
for me because
yep,
while yes, there's a huge explosion on in cinema, which I'm very happy about, I was like, I would like to see something really dive into that show wise,
hmm
and I feel like they gave us something that sometimes I feel there is a stereotype that I'm not going to say Asians are perfect by any means, but I think Asians like to in that culture they like you said perception is everything, so they
right,
like to view and I get that.
right,
I think of some of my family members, and so like to see this, I was like, oh, this is messy, but this is you know again, it's a focus on just mental health. I just
yeah,
there was something I really loved about how they told this story and how they depicted everything. So for me, I was just like, I'm happy to see this, but I would love to see A24. Oh, actually, I would just love to see more of this just in general for other ethnicities as well, because I feel like there's so much original. Like this was a good
yeah,
original
man,
story. I was like,
100%,
okay, give me something else
100%.
now. Like I hate to sound greedy, but I'm like, this
No,
was
hey,
refreshing.
I hear it, man. So I mean, I'll piggyback on that. Like most recently, completely different network, but Amazon. Swarm was a show that lit up the conversations because
It
a black woman
did.
serial killer. We don't ever see that, so that was really cool to see because as you just mentioned, as far as representation, we can do everything. We can do horror, comedy, mental health. And again, too, I can't speak to the Asian experience, but from people that I know that are, in my family and friends, as far as like that culture, it is like they like to keep their emotions, and this goes for every culture, but I know as you just mentioned, Asian culture
It
sometimes,
is.
and as the show points out, keep
Yeah.
things bottled in, your emotions show weakness. You're complaining. Why are you complaining?
Yep.
It's the whole, kind of mindset is different than some cultures. So I love the fact that it not plays on the Asian experience tropes, but it plays on like the experience there and displays it. And I don't think it's gatekeeping at all. I think everyone can relate to the story as far as
Oh, yeah.
raising a family, mental health, try to fill voids, making terrible decisions when you don't know how to express
Cause and
your
effect,
feelings.
yes.
Exactly. So I love the fact you brought up that it is. I love that this cast, the majority of cast is all Asian American or Korean American or Japanese American, and we get to see their story, but then we get to have a comedy, a drama, a dark, twisted stuff, sexual. This show had
It
everything, man.
was yeah, it was wild, and when you also mentioned Swarm, I gotta say, like, Dominique's coming for all those awards.
Give her the
Episode
awards
4 and
now.
5, wow. Like, her performance,
Yeah, man, I was a big
I
fan of that.
was
Well, we got some good TV so far this year. You
I
talk
mean, my
The
gosh,
Last of Us,
I hope
Swarm.
we keep getting to see
I hear you,
television
man.
like this
I hear you.
because, it's just nice that we're getting to see, like awards conversation, or not even that, honestly, just
Mhm.
the reception and
Yes.
to just get the
Yep.
conversations that we're having. I'm
Exactly.
really like,
And listen, man, we're only in the month of April. We still got it, and who knows who's going to be. I love when shows just kind of pop up and you just like you fall in love with something you never even heard of. So the fact that we're in April, and again, just off top, Swarm, Last of Us. I don't watch Yellow Jackets, but I know you cover it on your channel, and I know people love that show. You got Yellow Jackets. I think you all can tell from me and Yutaka's full, almost hour and a half conversation. We really enjoyed this show. Sure, we would have wished that certain things maybe would have played out a little bit differently. I personally thought the ending could have been a little bit better, but overall, great job, Netflix. A24 can keep working with Netflix to give us more great content. Amy, Wong, Ali Wong, and Stephen Yin, hell of a job. You talk about Dominic Fishback. Maybe this show gets some Emmy nomination. Is that the best limited series conversation you think, Yutaka, come next
see, that's
Emmys
where
for
it's
next
hard
year?
because I think Swarm's a limited, like
It is,
limited
yeah.
series is going to be stacked this year, and so I'm like, oh,
You
I don't
talked
want to
about
pit them against each
by
other.
the time we record this, guys, Yutaka has seen Love and Death, the new Elizabeth Olsen show. So I think that might be
Oh,
in
and
the
I think
Emmys
that's going to
conversation
be
too.
like a oh, it's so hard, but
Yeah,
it honestly, if they're at least in the
in the
conversation,
conversation. Yeah,
I'll really be happy because
yeah, which I think they will
one
be.
Swarm, that is, drama horror, like that goes hard. And
Yeah, man.
so I
Yeah,
would love to see that. Just, that it's a
because I think
genre that we
I would
just
say
don't.
Beef would fall under drama, like best limited
Yeah,
series
I think it
drama.
would be
Yeah,
drama. So but man, like it I think there's something in both of these shows that I would love to see. Be like, Dominique could maybe get the award, but at
yeah,
least could we get maybe, Stephen? I'm like, I am
yeah,
happy if
man.
the love is
Yeah,
spread around. But
yeah.
I think again only in April, and oh man, and
So
what's great is half-hour episodes. That's why I loved it even more. I'm like,
Yutaka, listen. When I get engrossed in a show, whether it's 30 minutes or an hour, I'm all there for the ride. But it does make it easier, especially for us being content creators, and we watch movies, we go to press screenings. It is so refreshing, Yutaka, to have a nice. Not that this was an easy breeze because we talked about there's a lot of heavy stuff in the show, but it's nice to just have like, okay, 30-minute show. I can watch the next one. I can maybe finish it today versus, man, we watch some of these shows, it's like an hour, 10 minutes, and you like got to set your whole day around it. So it is very refreshing to have a show in and out, a lot to chew on within 30 minutes, but it's nice to get, nice little 30-minute episodes. So I do like that more so than, like I said, hour, 10 minutes, 15. Like, damn, this is a whole
and you
movie.
got 10 episodes. Sometimes you're just like,
It's a lot, man.
oh.
It's a lot. But listen, man, again, we could talk for hours. I think we are pretty happy with the show, and we want to talk to you all in the comment section. And again, we're pre-recording this before it actually releases to the public. Depending on the public reception, if this does take off the way I do think it will, I think I might do another discussion that I would love to have you on your talk, or maybe doing like a live discussion like I did with Swarm to see what everyone else is talking about and things that we might have missed and conversations we maybe didn't elaborate on more. So let us know in the chat, guys, if you want to talk more about it. And we might set up a live stream. But wrapping this up, my friend, again, it's always great to talk to you, whether it's a horror film, a drama, comedy. It's always a good time. So why don't you let the people know again where they can find you, and what do you guys have next on the Horror Hour?
Well, you can find me at the Horror Hour TV. Again, sorry for the dog barking, but what we have coming up. Well, by the time this comes out, I think George will already spill the beans. But George is going to go to the premiere of the Evil Dead Rise in London. So lucky. Um, and we've got some more interviews planned and some more reviews. We have something for Slasher season 5 Ripper that's dropping on Shutter very soon.
That's it,
So
ladies and gentlemen. Again, let us know in the chat what you all thought about the series, favorite moments, favorite characters, least favorite moments, thoughts about the ending, and everything in between that we talked about. Again, if you guys like this conversation, we can maybe do a live stream with myself and some other amazing guests, and hopefully, we can do that in the coming days. But that's our thoughts on Beef. A++ for us. A lot of good stuff to digest in this show, and we hope you guys had a good time listening to us today. So, with that being said, like, share, comment, Yutaka's information in the description of this video. If you're watching this for the first time, consider subscribing to the channel here. And as you all see on the screen, you can check out the latest reviews breakdowns, and everything in between. We'll catch you guys on the next one.